Hi, it's Matt, and this is my morning monologue. It's very exciting because this morning for the very first time, I have a guest on my morning monologues. And my very first guest is Miss Stacy Higgins. It is Stacy, correct?
Tracy.
Wait, Tracy? You mean to tell me after 30 years of marriage, I have been calling you the wrong name? Classic Matt. So, Stacy.
Yes.
Tracy. All right, so here's the thing. I have a knack for turning polysyllabic words into monosyllabic words. In other words, I have a knack for shortening words. So, for example, people say no pressure. People say no press. Actually, I feel like I am the one, like if we were to trace, where that came from, I think we would trace it back to me, but there's no way to prove that. At any rate, pressure becomes presh. Trace, what do you think, what would you turn apple into? App. A common mistake, because app is actually short for application. So what would you turn it into?
Pull.
Correct. Apple becomes pull. What would orange be?
J.
Correct. Jin. Inge. Orange becomes an inge. Give me an inge, man. All right, so that would be an inge. And also, here's the thing. Why do you think people do that? Why do you think people like to shorten words? Do you want to go down there and sit for a minute, or?
Sure.
Do you want to? Okay. Why do you think, Trace? Why do you think people do that? Why do you think people shorten words?
To appear cool.
To appear cool. Let's see if it's up there. Bing! Yes, to be cool. That's one of the top 5 answers. Also, people do it because I think they think it's saving time, right?
Well, that was my next answer.
Yeah, that was the next
answer.
answer.
If I got up on the block again, I would have said, because nobody has enough time to say the full word.
We should be on Family Feud.
Yeah.
We would rock it. So yes, correct, Tracy. Also, because people think that they're shortening, they're saving time. Here's the thing, though. That's a misconception that people have, because it really doesn't save time. Because what happens is that people then tag on a modifier to it. So usually, if someone says no pressure, they just say no pressure and then period, right? But if people say no press, they'll usually add a modifier at the end of it that would take up that space that they saved. They might say like no press, Matty Matt, right?
Yeah.
No press, Tracy Trace. Really clever people would say no press, Gilgamesh, right? Okay, I was supposed to read Beowulf in high school. And I didn't do it, and I'm going to have to do that. At any rate, so as I said, I have a knack. Look at this beautiful area where we are. Look at that, Columbia graffitied the rock. Got away with it. Anyway, so I have a knack for shortening words. And so, Tracy, can you give me a multi-syllable word, or any word really, and I will shorten it for us.
Building.
Build.
Fissure.
A fissure. There's a fissure. A fissure meaning a split or a crack.
Sure.
A fissure, man. There's a Hey, there's a fissure in that rock, baby.
Oh. Turnpike.
The pike. The pike. Bring it down the pike.
Sunset.
The set, brother. The set. Look at that beautiful set, man.
Silo.
Silo?
Silo.
The sigh. Look at that sigh is filled with corn. So it would be the sigh is filled corn. Corn
Skyline.
with norn.
Skyline.
Skyline? The line.
River.
The ver, baby. Look at the ver.
Thinking.
You
Tennis.
tennis?
Tennis.
Some nis. See that? A lot of times you don't want to go with the first thing that pops into your mind. You want to go with the next thing that pops into your mind. So for tennis,
It doesn't really seem to be much rhyme or reason which syllable you go with. It feels like it's a gut feeling at the moment. But would you be able to maintain it all in your mind? You know,
would I be able to?
you personally, like, would you remember that river is ver
Well,
or
you
maybe-
you did. You just
right
remembered it.
now? But I'm saying, like, a week from now, if you don't use the word, like, if you don't speak a foreign language with someone, even though you've learned it, you don't maintain that.
Right. Well, let's circle back on this. Let's circle back in a week to see. And in terms of whether there's a rhyme or a reason, I definitely don't think that there's a rhyme, but there could be a reason,
Yeah.
right?
Only you would know that, though.
Only.
It's your language, but someone else might call it a riv, and then you may be talking about, they might be thinking of a rivulet, and you're thinking of,
What's a rivulet?
I'm not quite sure. I can't think right now, but I'm just thinking, like, another word that starts with river and has it in there, and, like, you
Rivulet.
guys might say, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept, but I think it is a breakdown in how language changes.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, from what I know of the phonetic, the Phoenician alphabet, which I believe ours is I believe that our alphabet comes from Phoenicia, and
Phoenicia, New York?
What's that?
Phoenicia, New York?
Phoenicia, New York. It comes from Phoenicia, New York, and I think that I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think that a lot of our language, our alphabet anyway, comes from colloquialisms. So, for example, I think that, for example, the letter H, they found out kind of, I don't know, maybe like 15 years ago, that it was like a shortened. Do you ever, like, when you're right in the middle?
Staring out at the river, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
do you ever, like, right in the middle of, like, explaining something, run out of energy, and just go like.
Well, I think that's the theory on your whole theory. People, it's all about shortening the time.
It is all about shortening the time. Ladies and gentlemen, Tracy Higgins, thank you for being my guest.